Hey everybody, it's Mr. Dow coming at you with a week 3 update, kind of tell you where we have been and where we are going. As always, I'm joined here by our class dog Crypto, who is dying to know what's coming up in our semester next. So let's take a quick look at our PowerPoint, just to make sure that I'm getting this properly done. All right, so that's me and Crypto on a recent road trip. Now let's actually get to some legitimate information. Okay, so here's the first thing I want to say about week number 3. Not pleasant, but I have to say it is going to get harder. Week number 3 is that's like what I call the linchpin week, man. It's where things get serious. In weeks 1 and 2, you're reading stuff and you're doing these exercises to learn some terminology. But you don't have to write anything that is being sort of critiqued very heavily. That all changes this week, so keep that in mind. Here are the main reasons why we're going to get some changes. Move this over. First off, we're getting into the revise until correct assignments. Before now, in weeks 1 and 2, I've allowed you to revise if you wanted to, or I've suggested it, but it's not mandatory. In week 3, you've got at least 3 assignments coming up that are revise until correct, which means you want to end up with a 5 out of 5 before you move on to the next assignment. And realistically, most people take at least 2 shots in each of those assignments. So one of the assignments is the outline for paper number 1, which you would do after, reading your story a couple times and participating in the group discussion. And then the next assignment is the quote usage exercise, just to show me, I've read the essay on using quotes, and I'm going to just work with this one quote to show you, Mr. Dow, that I know what I'm doing. And then the third thing is the body paragraph, where you actually show me a paragraph in your paper number 1. You do want to do them in that order. You want an outline, and then you want to learn how to use quotes, and then you want to actually write one of the paragraphs. The thing about revision, it is totally and 100% normal for me to put comments in and ask people to revise what they've done. So this is one of those things where I say, the earlier you can get started on this week, the better off you're going to be, because, like I say, those 3 assignments usually take multiple submissions. I do emphasize that you should do the assignments in order. I think you can do the outline at the same time you're doing the quotation usage exercise. Those don't depend on each other. But there is no way to attempt your body paragraph in paper 1 until you have your outline okayed, and until you've shown me, I know how to use a quote in the context of writing an analysis. So you definitely want to make sure those first 2 get 5s, then move on to the body paragraph. If the body paragraph submission runs into week 4, that's not a problem. I'm not going to count those as late. Like if you have to revise something, I don't count it as late. It's just we're working our way through it. You're trying to get a 5 out of 5, which would help both of us, because then I know you're writing decent paragraphs. The level of critique is higher now because it is about the writing, and that's for most of the grade comes from these papers. So by critique, I don't mean I'm telling you what a terrible person you are. I mean, I'm just pointing out things like, this is hard to understand because your sentence construction is mixed, or you put a quote in here, I don't understand the quote because you haven't really set it up properly, and I try to give you examples of how to do that. So there's more work in week 3, I think, honestly, than in weeks 1 and 2. And that's just the way it is. I did put, this is something, a little college thing that I remind myself of. You might get something out of this. This is something that when I was 18 and 19 and in college, I really, really, really needed to hear these things. Probably I would have ignored them because that's who I was when I was 18 and 19. But then as time goes by, what always happens is you go back and look at the stuff you ignored when you were 18 and 19, you realize, that was all correct. Everything they told me was right. So I don't know. Possibly you can, access this a little bit more. I say this is a good time to bring it up. It's week 3. Really, to get through college, really simple. They have go to class. To me, I would just say, do the assignments. Don't try to negotiate. Just do them. Just go through them and do them. Get help if you need it, but continue going. Put away distractions. You guys have way more distractions than I did at this age, so it's very tough. But it's so hard. This whole idea of multitasking when you have to do some reading and writing, it's really, it's wrong. It's like, it's not going to help you. If the more you can get used to not having other things drawing your attention, the better off you'll be. Don't cram or pull all-nighters. I think it's going to happen to everybody in college that you would end up doing something like that. But as a habit, it's a terrible way to do things. And that's kind of why in this class, trying to run things each week is a new step towards getting towards the final product. Make it personal. the more you can connect your college work with some actual goal or with something that interests you, the better off you are. If the topic is interesting in some way, okay, you're fine. But sometimes that's not. Sometimes the topic just isn't interesting to you. So you do have to. It would help if you had a strong goal, like a reason I'm in college and what I'm trying to get done. And if you don't have a strong goal, I strongly recommend you make an appointment with a career counselor. We have them at Citrus. They're doing all these appointments online on Zoom. They take you through a series of assessments and things and just sort of see where your interests are. And anyway, that gets the last one. Use your resources because you do have these resources. But yeah, if you can have a reason to be here, it really helps. All right, let's talk about the week 3 assignments now. So we prepped for this. So let's talk where it's going. How are we going to write this paper? The first thing you do is exercise 5. And exercise 5 is going to force you to get some help, even if you feel like you don't need it. You're gonna have to at least twice in the next 2 weeks before this paper is due. You're gonna have to deal with either, get some help from Alina, go to a tutoring session, go to one of the workshops, turn in your paper to the writing center and get some comments, turn in paragraphs to me. I give you a whole list of things you can do. You do have 2 weeks to do this assignment, but it is kind of pushing you to think about your paper sooner and sort of show it around to people. Next, post on more group story discussion on your story. Main thing to emphasize here is you need to go back into that group, into the discussion 3 and through discussion 4. Look at my comments. Today I will comment on everything there, and I'll do it again on the weekend. So whatever gets submitted, I'm going to comment on it. My main goal is to straighten out any issues you guys are having with those stories. Sometimes, we're going so quick. I can understand if you don't totally understand theme and you don't have a very strong theme, but I'll discuss it. I'll give you an idea. So post, then go back and see what has been posted on there. Then I ask you to read one short story this week. It's called The Red Convertible. I ask you to read it because I'm going to use that story for paper 1 and really for paper 2 to give you examples. And the more familiar you are with it, the better it'll be. Then read an essay on how to write literary analysis topic sentences. This is basically going to produce your outline. So on this, and when you read this essay, there's an assignment attached. So, okay, I've shown you how to do these topic sentences. Let's see your outline. And for me, in this class, an outline is this: a theme statement, 3 topic sentences, the full sentences. And they would use literary terminology. All right, and there's examples on there. Next, I'm going to ask you to read an essay on how to integrate quote support in your writing. I found the quotes, they're my evidence. How do I write about them? Then you're going to watch a screencast about me doing it. I'll show you me typing. You'll see the paper, and I'll get some quotes, and I'll integrate them. And then you're doing that to prep for exercise 6, where I'm going to give you a topic sentence. I'll give you one quote, and I'll say, all right, integrate it. Show me what you would write in front of the quote. Show me what you would write behind the quote, and let's see how you're doing. And we'll comment on it. We'll improve it. Let's see. I'm sorry, my dog is going crazy because there's construction guys in the backyard. You will finally get to submit the body paragraph in your paper 1, but you want to do that after you've got a 5 out of 5 in your outline and a 5 out of 5 on exercise 6. Then you write a body paragraph. And this is the one piece of writing that I'm requiring you to show me before the paper is due. Final paper due, end of week 4. But because we're getting 2 papers done in this class, I do need to at least start some of the paper 4 stuff without even getting into what the paper 4 prompt is. Just want to start it. So I've got a screencast on what do you do if you had to find research on your author's biography? So, whatever author of the story you're using for paper 1, that's who you would research. And I'm going to ask you to find some sources that will be legitimate sources. And you only have to show me one. And then with that source, you're going to do exercise 7 where you annotate it and show me the annotation. And if you don't know what annotation is, there's examples on there. But this is basically very early prep to get on to paper number 4, which will deal with the same story, but not with the fiction element, with the social issue that the story is about. And then finally, another mechanics grammar review. We're going to deal with sentences that aren't really sentences, run-ons, comma splices, and fused sentences. Man, that's a lot of stuff. Okay, so the main thing to remember is that exercise 5 runs for 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks to do that. You want to make sure that you have finished exercise 6 and the topics, the outline, the draft outline for paper 1. You want to finish both of those, get 5 out of 5 before you try a body paragraph. Again, if that means that you don't get the body paragraph in until week 4 sometime, that's okay. Don't worry about that. All right. Finally, just keep in mind the semester overview here. Here's the way it works. This is what was supposed to happen. The weeks 1 and 2, you read actively, trying to make yourself a participant in the reading. You learned literary terminology, you got the paper 1 assignment. Now we're in weeks 3 and 4. Look at all this stuff. We're planning our paper, we're writing an outline, learning to use quotes, we're drafting the paper, we're editing the paper. That's all to get this done and turned in. At the same time, right at the end, we're going to learn about research technique a little bit, and we'll use annotation because that's getting us ready for paper 2. Weeks 5 and 6 are a little more on research technique. We have to learn how to do formal notes, which is the step after annotation. We have to learn how to do a works cited page. We plan and write paper number 2. Paper number 2, I don't give you a ton of choices. I'm giving you a pretty strict guideline about what I'm looking for. So don't think like, oh, I got to come up with a topic. It won't be that hard to come up with a topic. It'll be harder to find the research that fits your topic and to create the topic sentences. We'll also, right at the end, prep for the final exam. You get a little thing about that in week 5, and then we take the final exam week 6. So there is a final exam in this class. That's it, man. That's what's happening. Since the one assignment we have to get help from people, we'll hopefully put you in contact with Alina if you have not been in contact with her before. I am one of your resources, but you can only use me for one of the 2 required contacts. So you have to use Alina or go to a workshop or submit your paper into the writing center or do a drop-in at the writing center. You're going to have to do one of those, even if you deal with me as well. So that's a lot of stuff, man. Week 3, most important week of the semester. If you get through week 3 and you're good to go, then you're fine. You're fine. If I'm going to lose people, I lose them in this week. So anyway, that's enough. Let's go back to full screen here. Let's see. Hey, crypto. Man's best friend. All right. I'll let it go. We'll stop here. And everybody out there, as usual, stay safe. Keep your distance, wash your hands, all that stuff. Crypto, come here. Want to do last, what do you say? Look. Okay, he says goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.